are back with our dinosaur postcard, and this is part 2 of your very first Photoshop project. And we're going to just continue on here. So we're going to go back to our layers panel, and we're going to add another new layer. And this time I'm going to call the layer Baby Dino 1. And we're going to separate each dinosaur into their own layer just as a way of organizing and getting familiar with layers. Okay, so we'll call this guy right here on the left Baby Dino 1, and we're going to continue on by coloring him. So going back to our magic wand tool, I'm going to select the parts of Baby Dino 1 that I would like to color. And remember, I'm going to move back to my line drawing layer for selection. So I'm going to click right there. I'm going to hold Shift and click the tail. And that looks like about everything I want to color on him. I'm going to move back to my Baby Dino 1 layer. And I'm going to choose a color for this first dinosaur. So right now I'm kind of in these orange colors, and I think I'll just stick with that. Now, for this part, the coloring part, I always tell my students this is where you're going to be creative. I'm not teaching you anything about color theory here or what color you should use or shouldn't use. This is all about learning the basics of Photoshop and working with layers and some selection tools, the magic wand. But as far as the creativity side, this is where you can do whatever you like. So whatever you think looks good. Okay, so back to my paint bucket tool, and I'm going to dump color in that Baby Dinosaur 1. And my shortcut again for deselect is Command D. And my students sometimes like to color the eyes or something else, and they could do that at this point if they'd like to. All right, I'm going to just keep moving along, add a new layer, double click on that, and call it Baby Dino 2. Back to the line drawing and the magic wand, and select the parts of this guy. Okay, so right there, go back to my Baby Dino 2 layer. I'm going to color him a little bit different than his brother or sister there, whichever the case may be. Back to the paint bucket and dump that blue on. And then Command D to deselect. Now this guy's got a tongue showing, so I want to go ahead and take care of that while I'm on the Baby Dino 2 layer. So back to the line drawing, magic wand, and get right inside that tongue. And we'll pick a nice pink color for the tongue. Switch back to Baby Dino 2. Command D to deselect. By the way, another shortcut that I use all the time is Command 0, and that will, when you've zoomed in a lot or zoomed into a certain spot and you want to get it back on page, you just hit Command 0. That comes in very handy. All right, I'm just going to speed this up a little to do Baby 3. All right, here's a trick I want to show you. So I have Baby Dino 2's tongue colored a certain pink color, and let's say I want to color Baby Dinosaur 3's tongue the exact same pink. All right, so a really easy way to do that is to click on your foreground color, and when your color picker window comes up, instead of choosing from this color, move out to your page here, and you'll see that your cursor turns into a little eyedropper, and you can pick any color that you currently have on your page. And there we got it. So that makes it really easy to select a color or choose a color or find a color that you've already used. Okay, I'm going to move on to the big dinosaur, and we'll call this Big Mama, and I'm going to color her. Okay, that's kind of bright. So if you ever come across something and you dump a color in and you're not really happy with it, you can always just reselect it, go back, play around with this. So I'm going to make her a lot darker. I want to show you something that just happened. Now, I just happened to dump that tongue color on my line drawing layer, which is a mistake. And this is something that when I grade my students' first project that I'm looking for, because the whole point of this project really is that they familiarize themselves with the layers and that they're always on the layer they're supposed to be on. So another thing you can do to check yourself is turn the visibility of everything off one by one. So starting with your top layer, turn the visibility off, and notice when I did that, that pink tongue is still there. So I know right away that that tongue is not on the layer it's supposed to be on. So I'm going to continue down Baby Dinosaur 3 and just watching to see what happens and making sure that these things are in fact on the layer they're supposed to be on. Okay, so I'm all the way down to my final layer here, the line drawing, and there's that pink tongue, okay, where it's not supposed to be. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to go to my default black and white, and remember that button that I talked to you about, and then using the toggle, I'm going to switch it to the top, and I'll just go ahead and dump white over the pink. And the paint bucket, by the way, works like the magic wand in that it's only going to dump the white in the similar pixel colors that until it hits a different pixel color, and then it'll stop. Okay, just like that. All right, so now I'm going to turn everything back on, and this time I'm going to do the tongue the right way. Switching to that layer so I don't make that mistake again. Remember, when you're selecting multiple areas, you want to hold Shift. Okay, so one thing that we discuss in class a lot is what's going on down here. What is this? So a lot of kids think, well, that's probably the yolk. They tell me that that's the yolk, and then we talk about, well, wait a minute, because the yolk is what turns into the baby, so that's probably not yolk. So they talk about how it could be grass or part of the nest. Some kids think it's the eggshell, or some kids just like to call it ooze. So whatever you want to decide on that, I'm going to say, I usually say it's part of the eggshell, so even though it doesn't look shaped that way, I'm going to go ahead and call it eggshell. So I'll just go ahead and add that to my eggshell layer. And I'm going to pick the color of my eggshells, but I'll go a little bit lighter since it's like the inside of the eggshell. And again, going every other one here. Okay, it looks like we've got this colored up very well. So the last thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a background, and we're going to be doing this a very specific way. And we're going to be using a layer mask, which is also a very useful tool in Photoshop. So that will be part 3 and the final part of this 3-part series, my first Photoshop project.